Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the episode number 6 of ASCENT Talks. My name is Ajit Panikar, and I'm an ASCENT member for over 10 years, and I lead Nova, an air conditioning company, and Pure Blue, a tech-enabled startup in the air conditioning domain. And usually my co-host is Aleem, who happens to be stuck at an airport, and he couldn't be here on time. So hopefully we would try to see if he can join us in the next 30 minutes. For most of you who are joining us for the first time and is wondering what ASCENT is all about, ASCENT is a not-for-profit expression of Harsh Mariwala, Chairman, Marico Limited, and his passion to identify high-potential growth stage entrepreneurs and enable them to grow their enterprise and enrich their entrepreneurial journey. Launched in 2012, ASCENT today empowers more than 850 entrepreneurs across India. ASCENT is designed as a unique, powerful peer-to-peer platform that leverages the power of the collective through self-facilitated groups called trust groups, which enables entrepreneurs to share and exchange experiences, ideas, insights, and create a healthy ecosystem to learn from each other. So today's event, which is usually a weekly event, ASCENT Talks, showcases ASCENT members and their interesting entrepreneurial journeys. Our guest today is Harish Kumar. Harish Kumar is a multidisciplinary artist who has been creating art, designing spaces, creating films for nearly 2 decades. In this journey, he constantly strives to play out of the box. Uh, Harish is here. Hi, Harish. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ajit. Good to be on the show today.
Absolutely great, man. Fantastic to join. And to all our viewers, Harish joins us from Chennai. So let me complete actually introducing Harish. He's got a fabulous intro. He started he's an engineer with a master's in mass communication. He started his ad filmmaking career working under nationally renowned filmmakers like Abbas Mustan, Kunal Vijayakar, and the famous ad guru Prahlad Kakkar. Then, with acclaimed filmmaker Hariharan, he worked on a 3D film, Gulliver's Travel, a 2D film, The Buddha, and a couple of documentary series on history of Tamil cinema and secularism in India. Harish has been a creative consultant with Reliance Communication in its new projects initiative division, then set up Big FM channel and headed programming for the same. He runs a production house, Hypnautyx Entertainment, which specializes in creating branded content for leading organizations across the globe. He also runs OUTdeBOX, based in Singapore, which focuses on art, design, consulting, and professional speeches for business leaders and senior executives on creativity and innovation. Using art as a medium, Harish's Harish's career has has talent from in paintings, installation, spatial design of galleries and experimental zones, and an array of works on canvas such as acrylic paintings, mixed media, photographs, and films. The physical elements of his practice range from canvas, wood, plastic, metal, vinyl, fiber, and concrete. And our man speaks English, Hindi, Tamil, Bengali, Oriya, and this is like, did we cover all the languages in India, dude? Pretty much northeast, west, south. That's quite an impressive profile to talk about, Harish. It's fantastic. And when I received the profile, I said, okay, we got to edit this. We've got a little time. But I said, what am I going to edit? Every sentence is completely different, man. so, so over to you, Harish, for all our viewers. Tell us
Thank
who
you.
you are. Tell us about your company. Let's get everyone to know what are the kind of work that you do. Tell us about your company.
Oh yes, Ajit. I think you kind of fairly summed up in the whole process. Like my entire history and journey came out through that intro. Wonderful intro, and thanks for that. And what I've been doing, yes, largely running two sides. One is Hypnautyx Entertainment, which is largely a production house. So we've been catering to corporates, making corporate films, industrial films, AVs, commercials, and things like that. And fortunate, we've been one of the few companies, probably from down south. We've been catering to a whole lot of clients all over the country, traveling, doing content on those lines. And the other end, largely, has been doing work throughout the box. Was a different journey when we started. It started off more as a hobby, doing paintings, because I was doing production all along. And as the company grew, you find yourself at a stage where you said, "अरे मैं कुछ creative नहीं कर रहा हूँ," or I'm not doing anything creative, whereas the team is getting to get the entire share of having the fun and creative, whereas I'm largely stuck managing the business or closing the business of sorts. That's when I went on a self reflection, looking at what am I doing all this for. Like, I had started this journey trying to be creative and have fun in that process. And that's when I started doing paintings, and that led one to the other. And Out the Box was an outcome of that. So that has been a very interesting journey where, as part of Out the Box, we've kind of built designs, art, worked with art and architecture. That's the space we are traveling right now, juggling both. So I get my creative juices more from this, and Hypnotic still keeps running in terms of the production happening.
Amazing, yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting to actually hear somebody who's created such a fabulous business. Right from your passion about creativity, and and it's so diverse in itself. But the question that comes to us, we've heard about content creation. And let's be honest about it. The world thinks about content creation is all about the Insta reels, right? That's how the majority of them actually thinks about. Put up a nice jig around it, and then you get hits, and that's it. That's what. But you're talking about visual content creation, right? How big is this market, yeah? And what's the kind of potential that this market really holds? Because you heard about content creation, you build a business around an industry called as visual content creation, and this is not the movie business.
Right.
But how do you? So what's this industry all about, and how big is this, and what are the growth opportunities within this industry for entrepreneurs who are budding entrepreneurs who probably want to even check it out, or even for people who just want to know about it? What's into this industry?
Ajit, this is like, if you very valid question today. If you look at the market size and the business today, largely, like you said, when you say content, the immediate that comes into the mind is one end. When we started doing, or when I got into, it was always about the fancy ad commercials or the movies. So content meant you need to be in that space, because that's the more fancy, glamorous, interesting space that we were chasing at our early days when we were starting. And then we realized in that whole journey is, it's always not about that content that you get to make, or there are only a few set of clients who really have the bandwidth and luxury to go all the way up there. And the bulk of the other clients are there who need actually content. They need functional content, they need content which serves a purpose. And most of these content are not glamorous. So it's not about always about a fancy looking location and bunch of models coming and you're shooting that, whereas these are content that would range from industrial safety, training, orientation, processes. And actually, if you see, the need for this is getting more and more and more. And the market size, I would say, literally every organization, every process today needs to be driven by a video. Because what is happening is, in terms of the content consumption pattern has changed. What you say about a few $1 billion worth of market in terms of content creation, but what you look at today is it's far, far more than what the statistics would come out. Because you see how somebody is consuming content. You look at the kids at home, they don't want to read something and figure out something. The first thing, they don't know something, they go to YouTube straight. They go to YouTube, they type in what they want to know, they see a video about it, then they got some info about it, then they say, okay, I need to know something more, and then they go and read about it. So the way you search and the way you consume content has worked in an altogether different way. Whereas I still feel most of the industries think of audiovisual or video more as a marketing exercise, and haven't really taken the content into every aspects of their communication. So that I find is video, then layer it up with some AI and technology, which means your content is going to become each and every aspect of communication. You probably are not going to do your trainings physically standing and doing. Probably bulk of the trainings are going to be set videos, how you effectively use an LMS platform. Today, if you see, a lot of large organizations have LMS, but then
One sec, Harish. We are talking to the janta here, okay? People like me who understand. LMS, bhaiya, LMS kya hota hai? Yaar, you got to, you got to tell us.
very, very valid point. Good for that reminder. I think it's about the whole learning platform. If I have to put it very simple, automated learning done in companies where they put onboard people, put them through some training videos, they get their orientation done. Then, if it's an engineering function or a factory, training them in terms of how to do this work, what are the flaws. And obviously, most organizations have a lot of learning that they've had. But all of this translating to a newbie is going to take a longer time. And you don't have that kind of a bandwidth today, because you want to tell him all the pitfalls, or if he's encountering a problem, बस वो वीडियो जाओ देखो, ये प्रॉब्लम का solution is there out there. So just go, have a look at the video, figure out for yourself, and beyond that, you want a human intervention support, we're always there. I think that's the model of relooking at content. And I see literally each and every company has to make content, and it has to be scaled down. It's no more the uh, budgets that you can really came for, but it's going to become a more than a value, it's going to become a volume game. So it's you need to cater to a more number of people on a budget and make enable them to make videos.
Amazing. We've got a fan out here, Praveen Shelar. You know, he's a good friend of ours. He's following you and he's saying, अच्छा हो गया यार, at least किसी को तो समझ में आ गया. He's thanking us for it.
I think I've probably in his usual wits.
Absolutely, man. But you know, Harish, you have a very interesting journey. You know, how you took your passion, your skill set, your art and converted. Now, I really want you to actually explain to us, you know, how you actually did this transformation. And I'm very fortunate that I've got some pictures of yours. So I'm going to play these pictures. And through these pictures, I want you to explain to us the entire journey of how this whole art got converted into various business models and you scaled up around it. So I'm going to play that while you actually please speak and tell us about it. All right.
Right. So I think what happened was I was in the process of making content, and I realized that I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't doing creatively enough, or I was challenged for doing something creative. And thankfully, this whole transition happened when I was just joined Ascent, and I looked at processes like what is that I'm feeling choked about, and that's when I started making all these. Paintings, and I had an office, and I said, let me just put up these paintings inside the office. Soon somebody saw, some architects came, some auditors came, they said, hey, you know what, somebody's building a house, they want to do something, or somebody's doing a restaurant, why don't you bring some art and design inside these spaces. And that's how what happened was, what was happening as a hobby and letting go of my creative juices started turning out into a business when we started designing for some offices like these IT companies. That's our earlier studio. So we had kind of done a lot of art inside the studio. So this is what people would come and see inside our office, and they say, "Acha, this the way your office looks?" And then they started looking at calling us, and it started into say museums that we did for the Mahaperiyad or from the Kanchi Trust. And these were projects that were impacting a lot of lives. And we were not even sure at that point of time whether it's actually turning into a business, when we were like designing clinics like this and designing spaces that had a lot more functional need, I would say. So it was not just about an abstract art coming, like something that would go into a house like this, but also functional spaces like offices, clinics, gyms, then clubhouses. All these places had some kind of a art, design, communication need happening. So our background of working in production and communication and the art sensibilities kind of helped, because we kind of clubbed all of that into working into physical spaces. Like this was an auditorium that we built like an origami art. So all these are acoustic treatment, but the acoustic treatment is done in a way that it looks like a art form. And that's how we started looking at every space and challenging how the design is being done there, because a functional need space, they would not want to change and do something else like that. Or doing a large scale museum. This is again on the life of Adi Shankara. So this was again a massive project. So here the challenges that we learned was, if you say typically go to an architect or somebody, they would want to know what the space is and get down to drawings. But where we got was, somebody would give us a brief like a large book. See, this is the story of Shankara. Figure out what needs to be told. So actually breaking that
Amazing.
into a skeleton, uh, getting down to a story, breaking as to what can be what, and then structuring that into what has to be audiovisual, what has to be physical, what has to be going on a wall. All that meant some kind of a clarity and structure. And that's when an architect or an interior person could come in. And that's exactly the niche we found out, that we could operate in that space of, I would largely tell, this comes from the aspect of storytelling that we used to do. See how, in terms of video production and all that, we're always used to tell stories. And that's we realized that even physical spaces needed stories to be told. So that's the skill set we had, and we took that storytelling skill set into physical spaces, and that has kind of worked out to be a niche for us. We didn't know we were getting into this with a clear perspective. It all started as a hobby and a break that you want to move out from. And slowly we started doing all this. And I've been fortunate that the last couple of years we've been able to do a few million square feet of space. And also fortunate that we work with some amazing interior teams, architects. And I think a lot of learning for me has happened because I would go just with a story and an idea. I think, let's make it like this, and then they will like look at me and say, okay, let's look at how can we make it happen. And slowly one led to the other. I would say you need people with open thoughts and ideas, and I would say I was fortunate enough to work with people in a very very short span of time, because I'm not an architect, I'm not a trained interior person. All I knew was some kind of an abstract art that I used to do, and storytelling. And I never knew that I could take them into spaces. And it all sparked from one little thing that happened. You know, it was like we were doing a film for a client, and the client script they wanted it to be said, "Our place is fun." And I looked around their entire office; it was just brown veneers everywhere and blue carpet on the floor. I said, fun kahin nahi dikh raha hai. And they left like, what do you mean? I said, you're saying fun is your space and nothing I can see around looks fun. And the guys who are working in the office are all like techno Greeks. So they would just like come, they will do their technology and other parts. And so that vice president really took it a little offensively. He said, what do you mean, Harish? So I said, if you give me the permission, I'll take a few pictures of your place, and give me a week's time. I'll come back to you with a presentation, and I'll just present my version of what this space can be fun like.
See, Harish, I'll be very honest with you, Bhaiya. You're speaking the artistic language. Give me the permission, I'll do it. If I was in your place, I'll say, give me the check, I'll change this place. Simple. Very let's get straight to the bottom. Paisa dikha, Bhaiya. I'll change this place for you.
Correct, correct. नहीं, वो हम like what happened? We didn't learn that way. Or what you're saying today, like probably I've started doing that right now, because when I
Correct.
started the journey, I didn't know any of those, nor did I think I didn't know what value I was creating. So it was more like I have to do something. It's like that kid, when you give the kid a brush or a pencil, what that would do is, like, if you don't give the paper, the kid will go and scribble on the wall. And I was
Yeah.
pretty much doing that in a real space, real scenario. And I think that's a quality that I like to hold. You need to be that kid always, so that you're open to learning, you're always open to reinvent. It's like you fall down, you get up, dust, and walk over and do that again. And that probably helped me to start a completely new journey, not even being
Amazing.
aware of. And today
Yeah.
probably I
But
can say ki ha, malum
yeah.
hai.
See, correct. See, Harish, when you look at art, the naive people like us, common men, when I look at art, I keep my mouth shut. Because I'm talking from the point that you said abstract and storytelling. Okay. When I looked at these pictures, I kind of formed an opinion, which is I don't understand. But then when your voiceover just now, when we heard what you did and what you built it suddenly completely changed the way you look at that picture, right? And that's a feeling that I carry right now, because I'd seen these pictures before, and now after I heard you about it, it feels differently. Now, in an industry like that, taking it and converting it into a business and an enterprise, I can, I mean, it's anyone's guess. It's no easy walk. Even if you have the talent, it's no easy walk. So, why don't you share with us, some of our viewers today, what is that big challenge that you faced here, and how did you actually overcome
Ah, um, a very, very nice question. Thanks that you brought that up. I think when we first started moving around, like I said, the first phase happened out of ignorance and sheer excitement to do something. But at every stage, I would get shut down by saying, "Arey, you're a filmmaker. What do you know about architecture? What do you know about design? What experience do you have in this space? How can we trust you with the space and things like that?" And was a question that will, like, every meeting or every second place that I would go is like, I will get to a point. Sometimes they said, somebody said, "Are you an architect?" I was like,
that?
really think, should I nod my head and just sit and say I'm an architect? But then,
पैसा गया order गया.
then I would, what I started learning was, I started questioning it back. Why do you want an architect at this stage? We are discussing an idea. We'll talk about the architect when it actually comes down to the design and making it. But right now we're talking about the idea. Let's talk the idea. So what I would do is I'll park these questions little behind or the others, where I know it's like a trap question that I have to face, and I know they'll kill me down with that question. So I need to know, like, how do I dodge these questions? And I didn't want to just lie, because it doesn't make any sense lying and saying I'm an architect. So I would say,
Correct.
was right now we're discussing idea. Let's close this idea, then we'll come down to the architect. And so it so happened in some cases that from just doing design, so I knew a few architects. I would say, I'm making this idea, I have this idea, present to the client. Do you think you can make some drawings? And they say, yeah. And that's what I said. Some of them are really sweet. They said, "Hey, come, no, we'll tell you what. Why don't you put it like this? This is feasible. This is workable. How you can tailor make." And that is like actually doing my architecture course and going to probably Milan and doing my course and coming back. All
Wow.
that happened because they let that knowledge out to me by saying, what you need to pick, what you need to say, all the terminologies that you would get. It was all Greek and Latin. They will say, okay, so what kind of what lux of lighting is going on that facade? So I'm like, what lux, what lighting, and all were terminologies, and they will just kill you with jargons, like how you said, we are all aam janta, what you're saying. I was just facing jargons at every drawing, every meeting. But then I was just like, okay, I'm learning, I'm learning, I'm learning, I'm learning. And so I would just look at every meeting, even if it is like a bouncer. But I said, Acha, I learned 5 terminologies today. Or I didn't know. I would like come back, or like I'll quickly Google immediately out of the meeting. I said, Acha, what did he ask? He asked a bollard. What's a bollard? So I'm like, Acha, bollard is Acha. This is the type of light. Okay, I know that kind of light, but I don't know what that light is called. If people are
Wow.
not dealing with this, they will not know these terminologies. So I learned a lot by just getting like pushed onto the corner every time again, fighting it back by saying, Mere ko kya hai? I have to learn this. I have to crack this. Then I'll go to a lighting consultant. I said, tell me what you do, how you do it. Okay, I'm planning this project. How do you think I should suggest the lighting? Because it was not that I was a lighting consultant, but I would go out all and out to understand what a landscape is happening, what kind of lighting is happening. Because just to sell the art side of it, I said I need to know the entire 360 degree of this business. Otherwise, I cannot talk there because I will not be relevant. So that was
Wow.
the kind
Amazing.
of
Yeah.
transition that happened.
That's amazing. You तो literally took all those challenges and converted into opportunities. भैया इसको तो हम opportunity में convert करेंगे and convert it into business. How amazing is that? So Harish, we have a deal with our viewers here. We never keep it beyond 30 minutes. We've got about 4 to 5 minutes to go. I want you to share with us. You right in the beginning also said that Ascent happened to you sometime at that time, and you also shared some interesting stuff when we met at the conclave. Tell us about the Ascent journey, especially for someone who's from Chennai, which is a much younger region for Ascent. Tell us about your Ascent journey.
Ascent just came onto our plate, or rather, my plate, I would say, is because when Ascent was planning to start their wing in Chennai, they were looking at, and a couple of the members who were there in the Bombay team connected Archana, and Archana said, "Hey, we're looking to connect with entrepreneurs in Chennai." And so, what happened? The first meeting actually happened in my office. So they
Wow.
said, "Hey, let's look at." And I was like very curious, what is this Ascent? And I just loved the whole idea because I said this seems very exciting because the way Ascent works. And I said, tell me whatever is needed. I'm game for this. And where do I do the transition? How do I get to onboard? And so we did that. They had the series of interviews and all that, and they said, "Ajo, so what is that you're looking at?" And they said, for us, we look at something from an entrepreneur. It's not always about the scale of turnover that somebody is doing, but it's about the learning mindset somebody would have, the mindset to collaborate. And so that's something that we look at entrepreneurs. And if you have that spirit, you're game to be in. And that was very welcoming. And second was the trust group formation and our initial hand holding. I was used to feel amazed, like the amount of senior Ascent members who would actually take time out of their busy schedule. They're like running multi-crore businesses, and then actually they're coming down, taking time out to say how to actually conduct a meeting. So I'm like,
Awesome.
wow, this is like I would not get this outside if not for Ascent. So that meant a lot of meaning. And second, when I was oscillating at this space, we had just started doing some design and we didn't know what we were getting into. So I would quite often bounce this thing, Arey, pata nahi chal raha hai. Should I become or should I let go? And I was also having this kind of a thought, you become that little sant kind of a thing, I want to leave all this. I just want to be an artist and go down somewhere. And they started putting a lot of sense, questioning those things, and best thing in a sense, advice koi nahi deta hai. They just question you
Absolutely.
to make you think. And I felt that was wonderful because it only pushes you to reflect again into yourself. And that
Yes.
is the wonderful
Harish,
journey where Ascent
yeah,
was.
correct. Harish, look at the screen. If you look at the screen, don't you think you look like a sant? Look at it very clearly. Yeah? So it's not wrong. You need a trust group to tell you that bhaiya sant nahi hai. Your appearance is fully sant like. Anyway, awesome, Harish. But it's been fantastic listening to you, man. We've had just about 30 seconds to go. And it's been fabulous journey, fantastic. And you are quite an inspiration of how do you take just habits and hobbies and things that make you happy and convert it into a fabulous business, just not one business, but multiple businesses, both based out of Chennai and Singapore. Fantastic listening to you, Harish. And I'm sure we'll have lots of people who's going to write to us about the show. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ajit. Absolute pleasure being here today.
Thanks a lot. Fantastic. Great. Okay, guys. So before we end the show, there are two things you can do now. You are an entrepreneur, just happy doing what you do. Follow us on the LinkedIn page. And every Friday, we'll get you interesting people like Harish to come and share their story every Friday at 11 o'clock. But if you believe you're growth ready and you want to be part of that India story, which is, you look at it, we everyone is talking about us, and we are just at the right place doing the right thing. Get to ascentfoundation.in and apply for membership. A big disclaimer, it's not a membership that you just pay a fees and you buy. They will put you through a process. And if you're truly a growth ready entrepreneur, then they bring you on board and you become part of the Ascent journey. So thank you very much for joining us today for the sixth episode. I've been enjoying every episode that I've been bringing to you. And thank you for all the viewers. Thank you, Praveen, for staying through through the events. And we'll see you next Friday at 11 a.m. with a new story. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.